Welcome. Microsoft loves Linux, and we are going to learn to deploy Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, MDE for short, on a Linux device manually. And we are going to cover the following. We are actually going to connect to a Linux device and update the device. And then we are going to get the onboarding package from the Microsoft Defender portal, and then we're going to transfer the file to our Linux device. Then we're going to install MDE, and then after that, we're going to onboard the server to MDE and simulate the download of a malicious file. So we are going to download the eCar file, which should be quarantined when real-time protection is set to true. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do, actually, I'm going to run a bunch of commands here that I already loaded in the clipboard. So the first thing that we're going to do is to connect to the Linux device. So the command that we're going to run, and again, I'm saying that I already loaded everything into the clipboard, so it's a matter of just loading the command and then run them. So now SSH, let's see at and now the IP address, and then I give the password, and then I'm connected. So the next thing is to look at the basic information about the system. So as you can see here, this system is a RedHat Enterprise Linux server device. So the yum package manager will be what we're going to use for all of the command that we're going to run. So for the next thing that we're going to do is to update the system. So we run sudo yum update and sudo upgrade, so it's going to fully update the system. So again, I give my password here, and then I will do the update of the system. And once that is done, the next thing that we're going to do actually is to look at the installation status of MDE on this device. And I know it's not installed, so we shouldn't get anything really on this device. So this is done. And the next thing is to look at MD ATP health. And when I run that, I don't get anything because it's not installed yet. So we go next, and so this command actually, I'm going to run that from my Windows device, and I want to transfer a file from this Windows device to this Linux server. So the next thing that I'm going to do, and before I even transfer the file, I do need to download the file from the Defender Center. And the way that you get the onboarding package, so you go to secure.microsoft.com right here, and then you have to go to settings, and under settings, look for endpoints, and under endpoints, go to onboarding, and under onboarding, select Linux server, and then select streamlines for connectivity type. And then also for the deployment method, just use the local script. That's what we're going to use. So you can download that. I'm not going to do that because I already downloaded the file. So now I'm going to go back in here using PowerShell. So, and I am going to just transfer the file, and this is the command here. So what this is going to do, I'm using secure copy, and what it's going to do, it's going to pick up the file on my local system and then transfer that to my Linux device at this IP address. So you specify the username and the IP address and the location. So when you see the tilted sign here, this means that it's going to transfer the file to the user's home directory. So that's what we're going to do. And actually, when you look at right here, when you run ls, there is nothing, there is no file. So now after we run this file, we should see a file when we run ls. So now let's transfer this file, provide a password, and then when we come here now and then we run ls, you can see that we have the gateway to Windows Defender ATP onboarding package. So we have the onboarding package now on this system. So now the next thing that we need to do, this file is a zip file. So we should have nzip installed on this system. And remember at the beginning, I was saying that running hostname CTL, then you have basic information about this system. So we know that it's a Red Hat Enterprise system. So now what we can do, if we do not have nzip installed, so we can run sudo yum install nzip. And then when we do that, it's going to install nzip. But I believe in my case, I already installed this, so it's not going to install anything. So it's already installed. So now what I'm going to do is to unzip this file and then specify the file name. And then now when I run ls, you can see that I have a new file here. So Microsoft Defender ATP onboarding Linux server.py. And this is the file that we're going to use to onboard the system to our Microsoft Defender for Endpoint tenant. So now let me load the next command here. So we have to make sure that we have Python 3 installed on the system. And the reason being is because this onboarding package that we have here, we need Python 3 on the system to be able to run that. So now when I run that, I will see that the Python 3 is installed. If Python 3 is not installed on your system, you can install that before you can proceed. So let me go to next. And after we have that, the next thing also is to make sure that the yum-util tool is installed on the system. So I will load that and then run that as well. And then you can see that it's already installed on my system. So if it's not, definitely run this command so that you can install the yum-util tool on your system. And next thing that you're going to do is to add a repository to your system. And in our case here, we want to onboard this device to Microsoft Defender for Endpoint using the prod channel. And that's here is the command where we can use to add the repository package to this Linux device. So we're going to run that, and then we added that. So now the next thing is to look at to install actually the GPG public key, Microsoft GPG public key to this system. So, and this is the command here that we need to run to do that. So we do that as well. And next, let's see what we need to do. So after we have that, I would also like to, actually, let me see here. So we have this one done. So now the next thing that we need to do is to just install MDE on the system. So you can see this is the command here. So we're going to execute this command to install MDE on the system. So it's gonna take a while, maybe about a couple of minutes, and then I need to say yes to this. So it's going to install MDE on this system. And once it installs MDE, what we're going to do, we're going to set a tag on this device so that when we go to the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint portal, we can easily identify the device with a tag name. And we just need to wait for this one to complete before we can proceed. And while this is going on, one thing that we're going to do after the device is onboarded to Microsoft Defender for Endpoint is to download an eCar file when real-time protection is turned on and MDE, and this is the way that we can easily test MDE detection and remediation capabilities. So with real-time protection turned on, if we try to download a quote-unquote malicious file, an eCar file, so MDE will detect that and automatically quarantine the file. So that's what we're going to do once the installation completes here, and then we also onboard the device to Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. But we have to wait. We can't do anything while this is going on. Okay, this is complete. So now the next thing that we're going to do, being the uh, Microsoft Defender for Endpoint or MDATP application is installed on the system. So now we're going to set a tag. And this is just so that we can easily identify the device in Microsoft Defender for Endpoint tenant. So the tag that we're going to use, I put here a Red Hat device. So this is the tag that we're going to use. So we run that, and then the tag is set. So next command that we're going to run is to look at attaching actually the device to our Microsoft Defender for Endpoint tenant, and this is the command that we run here. And as you can see, I was saying previously that you need Python 3 install. So this is where you really need that, because you're going to use that to reference the onboarding package and then link this device to your Microsoft Defender for Endpoint tenant. So we run that, and then we have that done. So as soon as this is done, so really quick, what we can do is to type up, for example, MDATP health. And what we're looking at is actually the org ID. When you look at the org ID here, so it starts with 04 and it finishes with 83. So now when I go to my tenant right here, and then I'll go under Microsoft Defender XDR, and the org ID, it's gonna be the same. So the org ID starts with 04, and then it finishes with 83. So now I'm sure that my device is onboarded to this correct Microsoft Defender for Endpoint tenant. So now, being I have that, the next thing that I can do, and also being I'm already here, and then I have this information about Microsoft Defender for Endpoint on this device, I can look at a few things. Right now, if you look at real-time protection, you can see that it's set to false. It's not enabled. So that means that if there is any malicious file or there is a malware on this device, it will not be detected. So we need to turn, and everything that you see here, it's just the default setting. So we need to turn this from false to true. So let me run the next command for that, even though we can read out directly from this output here. So one way that you can do that as well is to come here and then run real-time protection enable. So when we run that, you will see that it says false, and it's the same. It's consistent with what we have here as well. So now, when we look at the definition update also on this device, being we just onboarded this device, let's see what is it saying in regards to AV definition status. So it's up to date. So already the device checked in, and it already updated the AV definition. So this is good. So now for real-time protection, we need to switch from false to true. So the command to do that would be right here. So it's the field right here that we need to change. Oops, I ran the wrong command. So let me fix that really quick. So it's the value here that we need to flip. So now we have that, and then after we have that done, then when we go back to this previous command here and then we run that, we'll see that the value is true. And now being the value is true, so now we can simulate the download of a malicious file. So it's gonna be the ecar file, and ecar is not really a malicious file, but it's just an antivirus test file that you can download to to test uh, the working status of your AV solution on your system. So now let's do that. So the way that you're going to download the ecar file is going to be this command here. And then we are going to download that. So now the ecar file, we downloaded that into the user's home directory. But and we giving this name here, so for the downloaded file. But when we run ls, you see that you don't see the file. It doesn't appear here. So what happened actually when we try to download the file, Microsoft Defender for Endpoint on this Linux device saw that this file was a malicious file, and then it automatically quarantined the file. So we don't see the file here. The one thing that we can do to view the file is to run MDE ATP threat list, and then when we run that, we'll see that the file was detected by Microsoft Defender for Endpoints right here as a virus, and Microsoft Defender for Endpoint quarantined the file. So now we have all of this. Everything looks good as far as onboarding this device to Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, testing Microsoft Defender for Endpoint detection and remediation capability. So the next thing that we're going to do is to go into the Defender Center and then look at the device status. So if I go in under devices, so now the reason why you're seeing two of them here is because I onboarded the device a first time and then I did it a second time again. That's the reason why you see two instances of the device. But when you look at the threat under incident and threat and the alert, you would see that ecar file has been detected as a malware and it has been quarantined. So it was prevented here. So now what did we accomplish in this exercise? We onboarded a Linux device to Microsoft Defender for Endpoints by executing a series of commands, and we also tested the MDE detection and remediation capabilities by downloading an anti-malware test file, so the ecar file in this case, and the file was immediately quarantined. So the next thing that we're going to do is to see how we can deploy Microsoft Defender for Endpoint using an automated script instead of running a series of commands one by one. Then we'll use an automated script. So thanks so much for your time.